I think we're good. Are we good? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm playing around with this stuff for the first time. Don't really know what I'm doing. I think we're good. Let me just double check this quick. Hey, we're live. All right. Holy shit. Um, that's what happens when I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, it does say live right up there. Okay, cool. Hi. Um, Welcome everyone to my first attempt at going live and doing a live stream here on the YouTubes and the YouTubes. God, I'm like my fucking dad or something. Anyways, here we are on StreamYard trying to live stream. 2 out of my 3 things didn't work, but that's okay. I really don't care all that much. I'm just kind of playing around with stuff, trying to get a feel of things and trying to learn on the fly. And hey, I have a viewer. That's pretty sweet. Don't know if you're talking. I don't know how to do that right now, but we will figure that out if we can. All right, I'm going to talk about AEW World's End. It is happening tomorrow from beautiful Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Don't get it twisted. It's not Chicago, but it's close enough. We are in the middle of Continental Classic season. Hey, I lost my viewer. Good. We're in the middle of Continental Classic season. By that, I mean we're at the end of Continental Classic season. And we're going to get the finals on tomorrow. We're going to get, or on Saturday or whatever we want to view it. We're going to get a bunch of other matches on Sunday. And yeah. All right, we're going to talk about the matches that are coming up, and you know what? To spice things up, I have things. You can kind of see them here. I'm a big collector of merch. Obviously, that's how I started to talk about all of this stuff in the first place, and I figured I would bring on the merchandise items to talk about the upcoming matches. And by merchandise items, I mean mostly the AEW Jazzwares figures, which might not be happening anymore. So that kind of sucks. Our first match is the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, obviously, taking on Hyon and Maya World, which Hyon and Maya World are pretty new to AEW. They've kind of just gotten their start as a tag team recently as well, through AEW, and thanks to Nixon Newell and her tag team partner deciding they don't want to lose squash matches, which, you know, I get it, but like, you have an opportunity on national TV, somebody's going to step up and maybe take your place and maybe get a job out of the deal. And you know what? It kind of happened. They kind of got Wally pipped, which is great. For Hyon and Maya World, because both of those two are tremendous talents. Both of those two are Maya World is a tremendous up and comer. I felt like her signing with AEW was inevitable in the first place, so might as well, they just sped up the inevitable. And Hyon is probably one of those people that should have gotten signed by a major company 5 years ago or so. But, the state of the wrestling world is weird, and the pandemic screwed a bunch of stuff up, and hiring freezes and TKO taking over and all that stuff kind of just put a kibosh on all of the wrestling landscape. But that's besides the point. We're here to talk about the match. Obviously, this isn't going to be building to a Hyon and Maya World upset win, and that's all right. They're not there to necessarily win matches. They're there to do well, put on good matches, and help get the talent over. And hopefully Julia Hart and Sky Blue will look great on their behalf, and should be a good way to start the show. I don't know if that's going to be the first match, but whatever. A good match, a good preview match to go into the show. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to Hyon and Maya World working in probably their biggest venue together as a tag team, because they've only worked kind of smaller shows and obviously not a pay-per-view yet. So it'll be interesting to see what they what happens here. But I think the Sisters of Sin will pull Sisters of Sin will get the win. if you will. The match last night that was just added, and I am super excited for this. We got some mixed nuts mayhem happening here. It's basically just a fancy way of saying that there's a mixed tag match. We got Tony Storm, we got Orange Cassidy, we got Mark Briscoe, and we got Roderick Strong here. And they're going to be taking on the team of Marina Shafir, who is not represented in action figure form. We got Claudio Castagnoli. We got Wheeler Useless here. And, of course, Pac. Stupid, sexy Pac. So, yeah, we got this should be a really fun tag match. They've done a great job of setting this up, a great job of creating some interpersonal rivalries between the Death Riders and the conglomeration here over the past few months, and this is going to be another culmination of that. And it should be this should be a really good match. Tony Storm and Marina Shafir have the way that Marina Shafir kicked Tony Storm on Dynamite on Wednesday and just completely like put her out of it. It's completely sold me on, okay, yeah, these two need to have some sort of confrontation at the pay-per-view, and for them to just work in all of this Death Riders conglomeration stuff that's been happening is a really smart move, and I am literally looking forward to this match. I think, picking a winner in this one's going to be tough. I think the Death Riders could probably pull this one off. Really could go see this one going either way, but I think the Death Riders have some bigger goals for this evening, so I think a win here is probably going to be pretty essential to what could be going down in Chicago adjacent city on Saturday. So I'm gonna go with the Death Riders here. Adam. But yeah, this is going to be a really good match, really fun match, and this is a great way to get like Tony Storm on the show, and a great way to get Orange Cat. Great way to get all of these people on the show in a match that doesn't matter too much, but ultimately could matter a little bit. We're gonna talk. Well, let's just talk about the semifinals now of the Continental Classic. And how can you not talk about this match? Konosuke Takeshita, Kazuchika Okada. The match that AEW has been building and teasing and whatever, pretty much for the past year and a half, even All Out 2024, it also at Now Arena had a three-man match that had Okada. It was a 3 or 4-man. I don't know. It had Okada and Takeshita in the same match there, and that was kind of like, oh, is it going to happen? Oh, no, it's going to be a multi-person match. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 people, but whatever. Man, this one is going to be a doozy. So the caveat for this, because there's lots of talks about, is this title on the line? Is this title on the line? Is it the unified title? What's going on here with the title? So if Okada loses, he loses the Continental Championship, which is that one right there, of course. And the AEW Unified Championship, which is around his waist there. And that is guaranteeing a new Continental Champion in the finals. He does still keep the International Championship, though, in this case. This is a really convoluted championship storyline, but you know what? I know some people don't like when you rag on the weird belt things going on there, but it's very interesting. This match is going to be a banger. There's no doubt about it. This is the one that everybody's wanting to see. I've got a lot of friends that are leaving either today, yesterday, or even Saturday to go to Japan for all of the wrestling coming up this weekend. And I always tease them that, hey, I'm getting the best match between 2 Japanese wrestlers of this entire time period. Now, is that going to be the case? Who knows? But obviously, Wrestle Kingdom's going to be a whole different bag. There's a lot of good Japanese shows happening there. Obviously, Okada versus Tanahashi and Takeshita versus Yota Tsuji, 2 big matches as well. So there's a lot of just a lot of good Japanese matches happening. But the best one is happening in Chicago over the next couple of weeks here, because we got Okada and Takeshita. And man, I could see this one going either way. I really want to see Takeshita win because I'm a big Konosuke Takeshita fan. I think he's probably the best wrestler on the planet right now. I've gotten into many people are always argue, or many people have been arguing that that Bandito is the top guy, and I totally get that. Bandito is fantastic as well, but man, Takeshita is just killing it on 2 different countries, 3 different promotions. Granted, his DDT stuff isn't really like happening all that frequently anymore, but dude won the G1. He won the NW and God, the New Japan, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So, all right, God dang, I need some more caffeine. And yeah, this could go either way. I think this is going to be an instant classic regardless. These two just have built this feud up so well, and I think we're going to end up getting. I think Okada's going to win it. I'm going to say it. That's my prediction. I don't know how good I feel about it. I feel like there's a lot more juice going into the finals if it's Takeshita winning it, based on who I think is going to win the next match. But I'm going to give the odd to Okada. But I don't feel good about it either way. I really don't know how these matches are going to play out, and I think that's the best possible scenario. It's just like this could go really either way. We could get Takeshita versus Kyle Fletcher. We could get Okada versus Kyle Fletcher. We could get Okada leaving the Don Callis family, maybe. We could get Takeshita leaving the Don Callis family, probably. We could get Kyle Fletcher leaving the Don Callis family. Who knows? There's just a lot of ways this could go, and I don't know. I don't feel good about any of them, but I feel like I don't know. I'm going to go with Okada for now. I might change my mind when I'm talking about the next match. Next match, of course, Jon Moxley versus Kyle Fletcher, who somehow does not have a figure of any kind yet, which seems just silly. He should have a micro brawler, he should have had a Jazzwares figure, but of course, again, we don't want to go down that pipeline too much here. So we just got Jon Moxley represented here, and even Mox is kind of like still got the hair look happening and whatever. But yeah, Kyle Fletcher, Jon Moxley. I think the obvious answer here is that Kyle Fletcher wins the match. And I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, yeah, maybe Mox is going to, then get the proverbial bag at the end from the Death Riders and be ousted from the group, which has been teased. But, man, I don't know. I've kind of been going back and forth on this, and I feel like sometimes when things are too obvious that they kind of go back the other way. And I think there's maybe a chance, and I'm just saying maybe a chance, that Moxley could win this, could win the entire thing, and reclaim his spot on top of the Death Riders food chart. Maybe with the thing that adds so many layers of complexity to all of this is the Continental Classic rules says that nobody can interfere in the match. And you think, okay, well, Moxley wins, but that's because people interfere in the matches. And that's why I think that ultimately won't happen. And I think why Kyle Fletcher will win, the Death Riders will come up afterwards and then give Mox the same treatment that Bryan Danielson got in the same arena a year and change ago at All Out 2024. That's the logical answer. Now that's going to go multiple different ways, and who's to know? I think ultimately Kyle Fletcher winning makes the most sense, and Moxley to kind of go his own path away from the Death Riders also kind of makes sense, but I don't know. I'll talk about the finals here in a little bit, just because that gives us a little bit of breathing room. We'll talk about some other matches because there's a lot of good matches on this show. We got Darby Allin versus Gabe Kidd. Now, this match kind of came out of nowhere. Gabe Kidd also not represented in figure form, but here's a little Darby action for you here. Man, Gabe Kidd kind of came out of nowhere. Obviously, Darby has a feud with the Death Riders going on. Gabe Kidd really doesn't have much going on in New Japan right now. I don't think he's got a match at Wrestle Kingdom. At least if he does, it might be like a multi-man thing with the War Dogs and LIJ and whatever conglomeration they got going on there. But yeah. So Gabe Kidd attacked Darby Allin here recently at the Hammerstein Ballroom, threw him down those stairs again. Darby just loves falling down those stairs. And here we are for this match. And I mean, I think this one, I don't see any real logical way that, like, hey, this makes sense that that Darby Allin's going to lose this match. Now, obviously, they could work some storyline hijinks in there and keep this feud rolling for, you know, another 6 months and have Gabe Kidd win and have Gabe Kidd face him in Australia in a Inferno match or something. Who knows? But I think at this point, it kind of just makes sense. World's End, I think a lot of the storylines, I think the intention of this pay-per-view kind of is to be kind of like a mini season finale and end some storylines, start some storylines, and kind of build to something new. And I think the Darby Death Riders feud has kind of been done. He's faced Mox, he's faced Pac, he faced Gabe Kidd now. Obviously, he could have some more bangers with Claudio and stuff like that, but I think this kind of just makes sense. Darby gets the win over Gabe Kidd, kind of goes down his own path. The Death Riders disassemble or reform without Mox or whatever, and they kind of go and have their own thing happening, their own Death Rider Civil War or whatever, and Darby gets the win here. But I'm looking forward to this match. I love Gabe Kidd. I think Darby is a tremendous performer as well, and we will see how this goes. But I think our man Darby is going to get the win. We got the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line here. We got the FTR, Dex Wilder. What am I saying? Yeah, no, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler. I'm combining their old names. God dang it. I should not be doing this. We got FTR with Stokely. Of course, Stokely's not represented. Versus Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, the Bang Bang Gang. I was going to say the Bullet Club. That's not it at all. Yeah. These teams taking on each other in a Chicago street fight. And because you can't have an AEW pay-per-view without having a Chicago street fight. Or any pay-per-view or any wrestling show pretty much in Chicago needs a Chicago street fight. That's just like the unwritten rule of Chicago is you need to have a Chicago street fight. I've joked with my friends. I think this is about the 100th Chicago street fight I've seen in my lifetime. And yeah, I am very much looking forward to this as well because, hey, I love a good street fight. Was there? I think it was a street fight at the Chicago tapings. Well, the Kyle Fletcher versus Dustin Rhodes match was a Chicago street fight at the AEW. Was it Collision tapings and at the Aragon Ballroom? I believe that was on Collision. And then there was a street fight between Big Bill and Brian Keith and the Gates of Agony at the Collision tapings at the Now Arena in May. And so we got another one of these, and yeah, this feud really hasn't landed totally for me. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they just wanted to bang this out because bang is a weird choice of words there. But they wanted to have another match between these guys just because for the first stretch of Collision, the FTR versus the Bang Bang Gang was like the hot feud. And I feel like that's kind of FTR kind of going back to the roots of that and reestablishing that. Now, obviously, the Bang Bang Gang is a little bit depleted. Colton's hurt. Jay White is still hurt, obviously. But I feel like these guys will still put on a great match. I'm not expecting any sort of shenanigans or hijinks or new tag champs or anything along those lines. I think it'll be a really fun match, though. I think we'll get some fun spots. I'm already envisioning just garbage cans galore in my head. I don't know why. I just, whenever there's a Chicago street fight, just think of garbage cans. Maybe that's because of Chicago. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I love Chicago. Anyways, I'm not expecting anything crazy happening at the end of this match or anything, but I'm expecting a very fun, kind of a cool downy match that is just going to have some good, fun spots in it. So I think FTR is going to going to retain their tag team titles here, and it doesn't really make sense for them to lose their belts, 1 month into their title reign. We got the Babes. We got the Wrath. We got Willow Nightingale. We got tiny little Harley Cameron here because she's only got a micro brother, but at least she's got something, unlike Kyle Fletcher. Taking on the CEO, Mercedes Moné, which I only have one belt on her. I have my belt guy working on more. Taking on Mercedes Moné and Athena, the ROH Women's Champion. Again, it's pretty early into the Babes of Wrath title reign considering they won the belts, a week and a half ago or so. That I don't think we're going to be getting new tag team champions here. It would be kind of a foolish gesture to have them go through all this and then just lose the belts to Mercedes and Athena, who really aren't much of a tag team, and they're much better enemies than they are friends. So I think in that regard, I think that the Babes of Wrath pretty much have this one under wraps for this in this match specifically. I'm expecting. I don't know. I think AEW eventually has got to do one thing or another with Athena here. I think either they got to relegate her to ROH status for the foreseeable future, or they have to bring her up to the main roster. And eventually they're going to have her lose the ROH title, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So it's very interesting what they got going on with Athena. I'd love to see her on the main AEW roster. I think she would be a tremendous asset to their already pretty built roster, but I don't know. And obviously Mercedes has been, instead of collecting belts, she's been losing belts here recently, so I don't think her winning a tag title here is going to be the next step that she needs in her progression as a champion or a non-champion in AEW. So it would be kind of foolish to have that happen and have Mercedes win another tag team title. I think the interesting thing here is maybe we're building up to Athena and Mercedes, and Athena is going to be taking the TBS championship from her. That's kind of been my long-standing feeling for that. I felt there's only two people that really make sense to make this crash out fully work, and both have had a pretty sordid history with Mercedes. But I think Mercedes losing the title either to Willow, which doesn't really make sense at this moment because he's a tag team champion, so why hold a singles belt and a tag belt at the same time? That just kind of overcomplicates things. But also Mercedes losing the belt to Athena makes a ton of sense, and obviously Athena is also the ROH champion, so that adds a lot more complexity to the situation as well. I don't know what they're going to do in that case, but either way, we're not trying to figure out AEW's future booking. We're just talking about World's End. So in that case, I mean, we got Babes, we got Wrath, we got and still tag team champs Willow Nightingale and Harley will be coming out of that show with the belts, and I'm very much looking forward to this match and all of the craziness that could ensue coming out of it, because I feel like there's going to be a lot. All right. Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter, AEW Women's Championship match. Now, this is something that, I thought maybe we would get a three-way with Tekla or something along those lines, but they're just doing one-on-one, and I think that's a very good move. I'm looking forward to this quite a bit. I think this will be a very good showcase for Chris Statlander to hopefully retain her title and look very good in the process, because Jamie Hayter is very good at making her opponents look good as well as herself. And I think this could be the defining moment of Stat's title reign. I felt like the match with Mercedes at Full Gear kind of under-delivered. I was expecting a little more out of that. A lot of people were hyping it up like, hey, this should be the main event. And I didn't disagree, because I felt that, Stat and Mercedes had a banger at Full Gear the year before, and they could easily do that again here, and giving them more time, a bigger platform, and obviously making a champion versus a champion match is a pretty substantial thing. So I think that would have been worthy of being the main event. Now the match itself, it didn't really get into the highest gear that it could have, but that's a conversation for another show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think this will be a really good test to see where Stat's at as champion, to see kind of where or how or if this should continue as her being the champion. I love Stat. I think she's great. I do enjoy her title reign, but I feel like all of her matches have kind of, it's only been a few months, but I feel like there hasn't been like that peak, like, oh shit, this Chris Statlander match just ruled. And I think maybe we got potential for this on Saturday. I don't know what day it is. Saturday. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. I don't think Jamie Hayter's going to win the belt, obviously. I think Stat needs to hold on to it. And as for, who Stat faces next, I have my suspicions, but I'm going a little long, so I'm going to keep that for another time because I really want to see that happen. But we won't talk about it now. We will talk about it at a future time when I talk about AEW stuff. All right. I'm just going to talk about the finals here. You know what? I said Okada earlier. I'm going to change my mind. I think we need to do Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher in the finals. It just makes the most sense. I could see it being a scenario where this was my original scenario, but it doesn't fucking work because of the Continental Classic. And I'm sorry for swearing now, but it doesn't work because of the Continental Classic rules. Is I was thinking it would be smart to do Okada, Kyle Fletcher, have Takeshita come down, have Don Callis run some sort of bullshit interference stuff, and have Takeshita turn on Kyle Fletcher and help Okada win the match. I think that would be a very interesting way of doing things, but also because of Continental Classic rules, becomes a lot more difficult to do. Now, granted, there was kind of some interference at the Okada Kenny Omega match that made the unified title, but I'm not sure that was under Continental Classic rules. I think it might have been, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think if that's not the case and we can't have interference, which should be the case, then we need to do Takeshita versus Kyle Fletcher. And I think we need to have Protoshita or Proteshta or however you want to pronounce it, because I've heard it pronounced multiple ways. I think we need to have these two battle it out. And in that case, I think Kyle Fletcher should win the belt. I think Kyle Fletcher should win the Continental Championship. He's worthy of it. Dude has been, I don't want to say he's been carrying AEW in Will Ospreay's absence, but he's been playing a very pivotal role in the entire landscape of the non-title picture. Dude's just putting on absolute tremendous matches. That match with Mark Briscoe at Full Gear was outstanding. The match with Hangman Page at All Out was phenomenal. Like, dude is just an absolute machine when it comes to putting on tremendous matches. And as much as Kyle Fletcher could kill either of these two, there's absolutely no doubt about it. And that's probably going to be the match of the night, whatever the finals end up being. Either scenario is going to be fantastic. I think having some sort of Don Callis hijinks to maybe cost Konosuke Takeshita the match, have Kyle Fletcher go over, have Kyle Fletcher become the Continental Champion makes a ton of sense. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to go with. I think we're going to get early that, hey, Okada's not going to be the guy. I know I said it wrong. I know I said the other way earlier, but I'm changing my mind. I think we're going to get Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, because that just makes more sense as the finals, even though everybody thought like, hey, we're getting Okada and Takeshita as the finals, but obviously that can't happen. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with Kyle Fletcher leaving Chicago, where he lives now, as the Continental Champion. And the AEW Unified title goes by the landslide for the time being. I think we'll see that get brought back into a future storyline, though. Yeah. All right, main event. We got the AEW champion, Samoa Joe, taking on the guy who cashed in his contract, MJF. facing Swerve Strickland with the Little Prince Nana and Hangman Page in the AEW Championship match. So yeah, this is going to be an absolute mind fuck of a finish. I can't think of any other way to say that. I think MJF is going to leave Chicago as the champion. It just feels like every time MJF is in that building, something magical kind of happens. And since head facing sideways, there we go. I think that's better. Anyways, yeah, I think MJF leaves Chicago as champion. He's had many tremendous moments, including all the devil stuff from the All Out 2022. I don't remember what he did at 2023. At 2024, he faced Daniel Garcia and then disappeared for a while afterwards. But yeah, I think MJF. I think it's probably time for him to be the champion, be the heel champion that AEW needs in this moment. Even though Samoa Joe is great, I just don't think he is the guy at this time. I thought the shock title change at Full Gear was maybe a little done for the sake of doing it instead of being fully fleshed out. But I think it was maybe just done for shock value. I didn't hate it. I thought it was kind of cool in the moment, but like it feels like this doesn't really have a lot of legs to it, and that's kind of unfortunate. Kind of unfortunate, at least for Hangman to lose his title that way. So yeah, I think oh God, I got comments. I am so bad at this. I apologize. Oh hey, it's him. Sorry about that. I am just like I said, I'm getting used to all this. Thank you, Dan, for tuning in while you did. I appreciate that. Yeah, anyways, I think MJF wins the title here. I think this could be a very fun match. I think this will be a very interesting match for the future of AEW and for the championship. I'm gonna bump this up just a scooch because I feel like my head's gonna cut off. All right. And I feel like this will lead to some other rivalries. I don't know where MJF's title reign is going to go from here, but I don't see him taking on Hangman right away. I don't see him taking on Swerve right away. I feel like he's going to go on a different path, and Hangman and Swerve are either going to do some sort of tag teaming stuff, taking on the Ops, or I feel like their rivalry here is probably going to end up being with the Ops more so than with MJF, which I feel a little bad for Hangman in that regards because I feel like he should be in the title picture. Probably should be champion still, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I think MJF wins. We get some other stuff happening here. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see there being some sort of twist to all this. I don't know what. I don't feel like this is going to go down just completely clean though. And granted, I really haven't fully fleshed out my thoughts on this one, but I feel like there's going to be some sort of something happening here. So yeah, I am very much looking forward to this pay-per-view. This is my 6th, 7th pay-per-view in a row. I don't know, 6, 7. No, I didn't even mean to do that. Fuck. No, 7th pay-per-view in a row. And I got tickets for Evolution in Los Angeles. I'm very excited because this one's a home one. I can just drive to it. But I got tickets for Revolution in Los Angeles. I've been kind of planning the Vancouver show for Dynasty, and we'll see from there how things go. But yeah, I think that basically sums up what's going on here and what I think is going to happen at World's End and a preview of all the matches that they've announced so far. I'm sure Tony's got some low-key bangers happening here, and yeah, we'll see what's going on. Sorry, I'm distracted by trying to figure out how to work these comments, but I feel like you can just hit the button that says Here, we'll put that one on the screen. Yep, there's Red Daniels saying hardwood. Hey, that's pretty fun. I like this. I'm going to get better at all of this shit, and I apologize for the technical issues and the stammering and the whatever. A lot of this stuff is just me trying to get more comfortable going into the new year. So I apologize if you watch this either live for a little bit or you just watch it on delay later. Yeah, World's End, going to be a sick show. Watch it on HBO Max, pay-per-view. Can't really watch it on Triller anymore unless you're over in Europe. Amazon Prime, payperview.com, a neighbor's house, whatever. Watch this show. It's going to be good stuff. And I will see you again next week. Maybe? Yes. Next week, probably Friday, maybe Saturday. Depends upon how things are going on. But I plan on next Friday morning. It'll probably be early. Nobody's going to be watching the live stream at that point. But I plan on, again, I don't really want to fuck around with trying to get people on the in the gimmicks and whatnot at this point. I mean, I'd love it. If anybody wants to join in or do one of these, let me know. But I'm just mumbling at this point. I'll talk to you more later. If you know how to contact me, contact me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week, Friday. We'll be talking about Wrestle Kingdom. Skadonk.